Act 2, Scene 1, humble apartment in Bob Cratchit's house. Miss Cratchit and Linda Cratchit discovered laying the cloth. Peter Cratchit is by fire. Scrooge, in the spirit of Christmas present, rise through the stage and stand aside and observe them.
So this is my clerk's dwelling, spirit, Bob Cratchit's. You bless it with the sprinkling of your torch as we pass the threshold. Bob had but 15 bob a week. He pockets on Saturdays but 15 copies of his Christian name, and yet the ghost of Christmas present blessed his four-roomed house.
2 of Cratchit's younger children, boy and girl, run in.
Oh, Mother, outside the baker's we smell such a goose. It must have been ours. No one has got such a goose. Oh, Jiminy!
They dance around the table in childish glee.
Whatever has got your precious father Bob and Tiny Tim? And Martha wasn't as late this Christmas Day by half an hour.
Enter Martha.
Here's Martha, Mother.
Here's Martha, Mother. Hurrah, there's such a goose, Martha.
Kissing Martha and assisting her off her bonnet.
Why, bless your heart alive, my dear. How late you are.
We'd a deal of work to finish up last night and had to clear away this morning, Mother.
Well, never mind, so long as you are come. Sit ye down before the fire, my dear, and have a warm. Lord bless ye.
The children look off.
Hide, Martha, hide!
Martha runs behind the closet door. Bob Cratchit enters with Tiny Tim upon his shoulder.
Where's our Martha?
Not coming.
Not coming upon Christmas Day.
Martha running towards him.
Yes, dear Father, yes.
They embrace.
Come, Tiny Tim, into the wash house to hear the pudding singing in the copper.
They carry Tim out. Peter exits.
And how did little Tim behave?
As good as gold. Somehow he gets thoughtful sitting by himself so much and thinks the sweetest things you ever heard.
The children re-enter with Tim.
The goose, the goose!
Peter re-enters carrying the goose. It is placed on the table. All seat themselves at the table.
Bob's happier than his master. How his blessed urchins, mounting guard upon their posts, cram their spoons into their mouths, lest they should shriek for a goose before their turn arrives to be helped. And now, as Mrs. Cratchit plunges her knife in its breast, a murmur of delight arises round the board, and even Tiny Tim beats the table with the handle of his knife and feebly cries, "Hurrah!"
There never was such a goose. It's tender as a lamb and cheap as dirt. The applesauce and mashed potatoes are delicious. And now, love, for the pudding. The thought of it makes you nervous.
Too nervous for witnesses. I must leave the room alone to take the pudding up and bring it in.
Suppose it should not be done enough. Suppose it should break in turning out. Suppose somebody should have got over the wall of the backyard and stolen it.
Gets up and walks about, disturbed.
I could suppose all sorts of horrors. Oh, there's a great deal of steam. Pudding's out of the copper. Smell like a washing bay. That's the cloth. A smell like an eating house. And a pastry cook's door to each other, with the laundresses next door to that. That's the pudding.
Miss Cratchit re-enters with pudding, which she places on the table. Bob sits.
Hurrah!
Mrs. Cratchit looks flushed, but smiles proudly, like one who's achieved a triumph.
Mrs. Cratchit, I regard this pudding as the greatest success you have achieved since our marriage.
Now that the weight's off of my mind, I confess I had my doubts about it, and I don't think it at all a small pudding for such a large family.
It would be flat heresy to say so. A Cratchit would blush to hint at such a thing.
Their merry, cheerful dinners ended, but not their sweet enjoyment of the day.
Miss Cratchit clears the table. A jug and a glass or two are placed on it. Bob fills the glasses.
A Merry Christmas to us all, my dear. Heaven bless us.
They drink and echo him. Tiny Tim is near his father, who presses his hand.
Spirit, Tell me if Tiny Tim will live.
If the shadows I see remain unaltered by the future, the child will die.
No, 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 say he will be spared.
If he be like to die, what then? He had better do it and decrease the surplus population.
My own words.
Man, if man you be in heart and not adamant, forbear that wicked cant until you have discovered what the surplus is and where it is. Will you decide what men shall live, what men shall die? To hear the insect on the leaf pronouncing on the too much life among his hungry brothers in the dust.
My dear, I'll give you Mr. Scrooge, the founder of the feast.
The founder of the feast, indeed. I wish I had him here. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon.
My dear, the children, Christmas Day.
It should be Christmas Day, I'm sure, on which one drinks the health of such an odious, stingy, hard, unfeeling man as Mr. Scrooge. You know what he is, Robert. No one better.
My dear, Christmas Day.
I'll drink to his health for your sake, not for his. Long life to him, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. He'll be very merry and very happy, no doubt.
All drink.
Your name alone has cast a gloom upon them, but they are happy, grateful, pleased with one another.
And they look happier yet in the bright sprinkling of thy torch, Spirit.
As he speaks, the stage becomes quite dark. A gauze descends which hides the group at table, Scrooge and the Spirit remaining in front.
We have seen much tonight and visited many homes. Thou hast stood beside sick beds, and they were cheerful, by struggling men, and they were patient in their greater hope, by poverty, and it was rich, in almshouse, hospital, and jail, in misery's every refuge, thou hast left thy blessing, and taught me thy precepts.
My life upon this globe is very brief. It ends tonight. At midnight, the time draws near.
Is that a claw protruding from your skirts?
Behold.
Two children, wretched in appearance, appear from the folds of his robe. They kneel and cling to him.
Oh, man, look here.
Spirit, are they yours?
They are man's, and they cling to me, appealing from their fathers. This boy is ignorance, this girl, want. Beware all of their degree. Most of all, beware this boy, for on his brow is written that which is doom, unless the writing be erased. Admit it for your factious purposes and bide the end.
Have they no regular refuge or resource?
Scrooge shrinks abashed.
Are there no prisons? No workhouses? Huck, 'tis midnight. I am of the past.
The children leave the stage. The Spirit disappears through the floor. At the same moment, the ghost of Christmas to come, shrouded in a deep black garment, rises behind the gauze, which is worked off, discovering. Scene 2, a street, night. The Spirit advances slowly. Scrooge kneels on beholding it.
The Spirit's mysterious presence fills me with a solemn dread. I am in the presence of the ghost of Christmas yet to come.
The Spirit points onward.
You are about to show me shadows of things that have not happened but will happen in the time before us?
The Spirit slightly inclines its head.
Though well used to ghostly company by this time, I fear this silent shape more than I did all the rest. Ghost of the future, will you not speak to me?
The Spirit's hand is still pointing onward.
Lead on, Spirit.
The Spirit moves a few steps on, then pauses. Scrooge follows. The stage becomes light. Enter Cheerily and Hartley.
Oh, he's dead, you say? When did he die?
Last night, I believe.
What has he done with his money?
I haven't heard. He hasn't left it to me. It's likely to be a very cheap funeral, for I don't know of anyone likely to go to it.
Well, I don't mind going to it if lunch is provided. I'm not at all sure I was not one of his most particular friends.
Yes, you used to stop and say, "How do you do?" whenever you met. But come, we must to change.
A moral in their own words, too. Quiet and dark beside me stands yet the phantom, with its outstretched hand. It still points onward, and I must follow it.
The spirit exits slowly, followed by Scrooge. Scene 3, interior of a marine store shop. Old iron, medicine vials can be seen. A screen extends from the right and is separating the fireplace from the shop. Chair and table are near the fire. Old Joe, seated near the fire, smoking. A light burns on the table. The spirit enters, followed by Scrooge.
What foul and obscure place is this? What place of bad repute? Of houses wretched? Of people half naked? Drunken and ill-favored? The whole quarter reeks with crime, with filth and misery.
Shop door opens and Miss Dilber enters. She has hardly time to close the door when it opens again, and Dark Sam enters closely, followed by Miss Mildew. Upon perceiving each other, they are at first start, but presently burst into a laugh. Joe joins them.
Let the charwoman alone to be the first, let the laundress alone to be the second, and let the undertaker's man alone to be the third. Look here, old Joe, here's a chance. If we all three haven't met here without meaning it.
You couldn't have met in a better place. Come into the parlor. You're none of you strangers. Stop till I shut the door of the shop. Ah, how it shrieks! There ain't such a rusty bit of metal here as its own hinges, and I'm sure there's no such old bones here as mine. Ha ha! We're all suitable to our calling. We're well matched. Come into the parlor.
What odds then, Mrs. Dibbler? Every person has a right to take care of themselves. He always did.
No man more so. So don't stand staring as if you was afraid, woman. Who's the wiser? We're not going to pick holes in each other's coats, I suppose.
No, indeed. We should hope not.
We should hope not.
Who's the worse for the loss of a few things like these? Not a dead man, I suppose.
No, indeed.
No, indeed.
If he wanted to keep him after he was dead, a wicked old screw, why wasn't he natural in his lifetime?
If he had been, he'd have had somebody to look after him when he was struck with death, instead of lying, gasping out his last, alone there by himself. It's a judgment upon him. Open that bundle, old Joe, and let me know the value of it.
Stop. I'll be served first to spare your blushes, though we pretty well knew we were helping ourselves, and no sin neither.
2 seals, pencil case, brooch, sleeve buttons, 5 bob. Wouldn't give more if you was to boil me. Who's next?
Mrs. Dibbler offers bundle, which he examines.
There's your money.
Chalks on wall.
I always give too much to ladies. It's my weakness, and so I ruin myself. If you asked for another penny and made it an open question, I'd repent of being so liberal and knock off half a crown.
Examines Miss Mildew's bundle upon his knees.
What do you call this? Bed curtains? You don't mean to say you took 'em down, rings and all, with him lying there.
Yes, I do. Why not?
You were born to make your fortune, and you'll certainly do it. Blankets. His blankets?
Whose else's? He won't take cold without 'em.
I hope he didn't die of anything catching.
No, no. Or I'd not have waited on such as he. There, Joe, that's the best shirt he had. They'd have wasted it, but for me.
What do you call wasting it?
Putting it on him to be buried, to be sure. Somebody was fool enough to do it, but I took it off again. If calico ain't good enough for such a purpose, it ain't good enough for anybody. It's quite as becoming to the body. He can't look uglier than he did in that one.
I listened to their words in horror.
There is what I will give you.
Chalks on wall, then takes out a small bag and tells them out their money.
This is the end of it, you see. He frightened everyone away from him when he was alive to profit us when he was dead.
Scrooge, shuddering.
Spirit, I see. The case of this unhappy man might be my own. My life tends that way now. Let us be gone.
The spirit points onward. The scene changes. Scene 4, a chamber, curtain drawn over recess. The spirit points to it, then approaches it, followed by Scrooge, trembling. The curtain is withdrawn. A bed is seen. A pale light shows a figure covered with a sheet upon it. Scrooge, recoiling in terror.
Ah, bare, uncurtained bed, and something there which, though dumb, announces itself in awful language. Yes, plundered and bereft, unwatched, unwet, uncared for, is the body of this man.
The spirit points towards the bed.
It points towards the face. The slightest movement of my hand would instantly reveal it. I long yet dread to do it. Oh, could this man be raised up and see himself? Avarice, hard dealing, griping cares, they've brought him to a rich end truly. He lays alone in a dark, empty house, with not a man, woman, or child to say, he was kind to me, I will be kind to him. Spirit, this is a fearful place. In leaving it, I shall not leave its lesson. Let us hence. If there's any person in town who feels emotion caused by this man's death, show that person to me, I beseech you.
As he speaks, the scene changes. Scene 5, a chamber, Scrooge and spirit. Enter Ellen, followed by Euston.
What news, my love? Is it good or bad?
Bad.
We are quite ruined.
No, there is hope yet, Ellen.
If he relents, there is. Nothing is past hope if such a miracle has happened.
He is past relenting. He is dead.
Dead? It is a crime, but heaven forgive me. I almost feel thankful for it.
What the half-drunken woman told me last night, when I tried to see him and obtain a week's delay, and which I thought a mere excuse to avoid me, was true. He was not only ill, but dying then.
To whom will our debt be transferred?
I don't know, but before that time we shall be ready with the money, and were we not, we can hardly find so merciless a creditor in his successor. We may sleep tonight with light arts, Ellen. Come.
Everyone leaves the stage.
This is terrible. Let me see some tenderness connected with the death in that dark chamber which we left just now, Spirit. It will forever be present to me.
Spirit points onward and slowly exits, followed by Scrooge. Scene 6, apartment at Bob Cratchit's. Miss Cratchit, Peter, and the 2 younger Cratchits discovered. Candle lighted, the spirit enters, followed by Scrooge.
As through the old familiar streets we passed, I looked in vain to find myself, but nowhere was I to be seen.
Miss Cratchit, laying down her work, mourning.
The color hurts my eyes, and I wouldn't show weakness to your father. It must be near his time. He walks slower than he used to. And yet I've known him walk with Tiny Tim upon his shoulders, very fast indeed. But he was very light to carry. And your father, he loved him. So that was no trouble at all.
Enter Bob. Miss Cratchit advances to meet him. The children crowd around him.
There, wife, I've returned at last. Come, you have been industrious in my absence. The things will be ready before Sunday.
Sunday? You went today then?
Yes, my dear. I wish you could have gone. It would have done you good to see how green a place it is. But you'll see it often. I promised him I would walk there on a Sunday. My little child.
Don't fret.
Fret. I met Mr. Scrooge's nephew just now, who, seeing that I looked a little down, asked me what had happened. He's the pleasantest spoken gentleman you've ever heard. He told me he was sorry for me and for my good wife, but how he knew that I don't know.
Knew what?
Why, that you are a good wife. And he was so kind. It was quite delightful. He said he'd get Peter a better situation. And mark me, whenever we part from one another, I am sure we shall none of us forget poor Tiny Tim. Shall we? Or this first parting that was among us?
Never, never.
The children crowd around their parents, who kiss them tenderly. A gauze descends and hides the group.
Spectre, something informs me that our parting moment is at hand. Tell me, ere you quit me, what man that was who we saw lying dead?
The spirit points onwardly, slowly traverses the stage.
There seems no order in these latter visions, save they are in the future. Through yonder gloom I can see my own dwelling. Let me behold what I shall be in days to come. The house is yonder. Why do you point away? The house is no longer mine. Another occupies it. Why is this?
Scene 7. A churchyard. On slab center is engraved Ebenezer Scrooge.
A churchyard. Here then, the wretched man whose name I now have to learn lays underneath the ground.
The spirit points to center slab. Scrooge advances, trembling towards it.
Before I draw nearer to the stone to which you point, answer me one question. Are these the things of the shadows that will be, or are they the shadows of the things that may be only?
The spirit still points downward to the grave.
Men's courses will foreshadow certain ends, to which, if persevered in, they must lead. But if the courses be departed from, the ends will change. Say, is it thus with what you show me, still as immovable as ever?
Draws nearer to the grave.
Ebenezer Scrooge, my own name.
Sinks on his knees.
Am I that man who lay upon the bed?
The spirit points from the grave to him and back again.
No, spirit, no, no, no.
The figure remains immovable,
Spirit,
clutching its robes.
hear me. I am not the man I was. I will not be the man I must have been but for this intercourse. Why show me this if I am past all hope?
The hand trembles. Scrooge sinks on his knees.
Good spirit, your nature intercedes for me. Assure me that I yet may change these shadows you have shown me by an altered life.
The hand trembles still.
I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. I will live the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. I will not shut out the lessons that they teach. Oh, tell me I may sponge away the writing on this stone.
In his agony, he catches the specter's hand. It seeks to free itself. His struggles become stronger in his despair. The spirit repulses him. He sinks prostrate to the earth. The spirit disappears. Clouds roll over the stage. They are worked off. Scene 8, Scrooge's chamber. It is a broad day. The fire is nearly extinguished. The candle near burnt down to the socket. Scrooge, discovered sleeping in his chair, he appears restless and uneasy, then starts up, exclaiming,
Pity me! I will not be the man I have been. Oh, no, no.
pauses and looks around him.
Here, could it all have been a dream? A dream! A dream! Yes! This table's my own. This chair's my own. This room's my own. And happier still, the time before me is my own to make amends in. I will live the past, the present, and the future. Heaven and the Christmas time be praised for this. I say it on my knees, on my knees. My cheek is wet with tears, but they are tears of penitence.
Busies himself in pulling on his coat, throwing off his cap, and speaking all the time.
I don't know what to do. I'm as light as a feather. I'm as happy as an angel. I'm as merry as a schoolboy. I'm as giddy as a drunken man. A Merry Christmas to everybody. A Happy New Year to all the world. Hello there. Hello. There's the jug that my gruel was in, and there's the door where the ghost of Jacob Marley entered. It's all right. It's all true. It all happened. I don't know what day of the month it is. I don't know how long I've been among the spirits. I don't know anything. I'm quite a baby. Never mind, I don't care. I'd rather be a baby. Hello! Hello, here!
Runs to window, opens it.
Here, you boy. What's today?
Why, Christmas Day.
I haven't missed it. Glorious. I say, go to the poulterer's round the corner and buy the prize turkey for me.
Walker.
Tell him to send it, and I'll give you half a crown. It's off like a shot. I'll send it to Bob Cratchit's. How astonished he'll be.
Scrooge comes downstairs.
I'll write a check for that society they called on me about yesterday. Oh, I'll make everyone happy, and myself too.
Knocks heard without.
That must be the turkey.
Opens door.
As I live, it's Bob Cratchit.
Enter Bob Cratchit.
Excuse my calling, sir, but the fact is I couldn't help it. That worthy gentleman, your nephew, is ruined. I said ruined, sir.
I'm glad of it.
Glad of it? That's an unnatural cannibal.
Enter Frank.
Oh, uncle, you know all. I come not to ask your assistance. That would be a madness. But I come to bid you farewell. In 3 days' time, with my unfortunate family, I shall quit England.
No, you shan't. You shall stay where you are.
You mock me.
I say you shall stay where you are.
Writes at table.
There's a check for present use. Tomorrow I'll see how I can make up your losses, and at my death you shall inherit all my wealth. But I don't mean to die yet, you dog.
This generosity.
No thanks. I'll dine with you today, Frank. And as for you, Bob, Tiny Tim shall be my care, and your salaries trebled from this hour.
Oh, this can't be my master. Oh, I'm quite sure it must be somebody else. Yes, it is him, too. He must have gone mad. I've a great mind to knock him down with the ruler and get Mr. Frank to help me to fit him on a straight waistcoat. Well, I never.
Merry Christmas, Frank. Merry Christmas, Bob. And it shall be a merry one. I have awoke a better man than I fell asleep. So may it be with all of us. May my daydreams prove as happy as my night ones.
As he speaks, the gauze is lit from behind, and the ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas present, and the ghost of Christmas to come, with the other characters in the miser's dream, are seen in separate groups.
The remembrance haunts me still. Oh, my friends, forgive but my past. You will make happy my present, and inspire me with hope for the future.
The curtain falls. And everybody knows the most famous line in this play, so please join us in saying it.
God
bless us, everyone.
To end this, our cast, the narrator for setting the stage during each scene was Anjane. I was Scrooge. Chelsea was Mrs. Cratchit. Adam was Marley's ghost. Liz was the ghost of Christmas past. Jennifer was the ghost of Christmas present. Beth was the ghost of Christmas yet to come. Ari was Frank. Jean was Bob Cratchit. Anna was Dark Sam and the Cratchit Child. Cynthia played Ellen. Carrie was Mr. Cheerly. Will was Mr. Hartley, Euston, and Old Joe. Melinda was Martha and the sister. And Amy was Mrs. Mildew. Thank you so much for watching. God bless us.
God bless us, everyone.
We do that again.
Yeah.